Benjamin M. Mack: A Short History of His Life. Benjamin's Beginnings. On Christmas Eve of 1881, J. Mack and Hattie G. welcomed their second son and third child into the world. They named him Benjamin Morris Mack. At the time, DJ's family was living in the small farming community of Effingham, Darlington, South Carolina, which lies about 10 miles south of Florence and at the intersection of routes 52, 301, and 327 in Darlington County. This portion of Darlington County would later become part of Florence County. Even though it was 16 years since the end of the Civil War, his family was still living next to his Aunt Mary and his grandfather Thomas Stevenson. She was the wife of George Washington Bird, who was DJ's father and enslaver. She was also the aunt of DJ's enslaved mother, Charlotte, which made her DJ's grand aunt. As family lore tells it, the relationship between the previously enslaved and enslavers' family members was good. Mary even taught Hattie how to care for DJ when he was ill and taught Hattie how to care for the ill. By 1890, four more children had joined the family with the birth of Leila, Harold, John, and Evelyn. Now, with six children, DJ and Hattie apparently needed a larger home for his growing family. So in 1892, they bought 20 acres of land in St. Stephen, South Carolina. The land was located roughly an hour south of Effingham. The first child born in St. Stephen's was Ben's sister, Evelyn, in 1889. Between 1890 and 1900, DJ and Hattie more than doubled their children with the addition of Pelzer, William, Daniel, Stephen, and Beulah. So by the turn of the century, Ben had one older brother and 8 younger brothers and sisters. In 1896, he would purchase 200 more acres. DJ and Hattie would add Gabriel and Esther in 1901 and 1902 to complete their family. The April 1900 federal census shows 19-year-old Benjamin living with his siblings and his parents on a farm in St. Stephen. DJ served the community as a preacher while Hattie ran the farm, nursed the community, and raised her family. The census states that neither Ben nor any of his siblings had worked since January. This makes sense as farm workers normally don't work as much during the winter months. 1900 federal census. Benjamin spreads his wings. In 1907, at 26 years of age, Benjamin married a neighborhood girl named Mary Session. She was 27 years old and was born in St. Stephen. On Christmas Day 1909, their only child, a daughter named Elizabeth Vernell, was born. In 1910, Benjamin and Mary had followed his older brother Columbus and moved out of their parents' house. He is renting a house on a farm not too far from the family home and is working as a farmer. And on June 6, 1916, his mother Hattie passed away, and like most other family members, she was buried in Mack Zion Cemetery. This loss was devastating to the family. Within 10 years, several of the children would leave the old homestead. First, Evelyn left for Augusta, then Esther joined her in Augusta. Beulah left for Charleston. Pelzer left for school, then joined the military and moved to Connecticut and the Philadelphia area. Changes come. Life was changing for Benjamin too. With the United States entering World War I on April 6, 1917, Benjamin registered for the draft as all young men were required to do. His registration card indicates that he was tall, medium-built, had brown eyes and black hair, and in most census records he is listed as a mulatto. I've not found any records indicating that Benjamin ever served in the war. Since the United States only participated in the war during 1918, then he probably never was called to serve. Since 1915, Benjamin had been working for N.S. Lumber Company. This is most likely where he learned to be a carpenter, which became his trade for the remainder of his life. 1920 found Benjamin living at 417 Murray's Ferry Road in St. Stephen, next to his brothers Columbus, Willie, and his father, who each had their own farm. He's listed as a carpenter and owns his farm free and clear of a mortgage. I conclude that DJ either had given or sold a plot of land to some of his children. 1920 Federal Census. Benjamin moves. By 1927, Benjamin and Mary had moved to Charleston. It's not known what happened to his plot of land in St. Stephen's. Mary found work as a domestic, while Benjamin was working as a carpenter. 2 years later, at age 19, his daughter Elizabeth married 20-year-old Theodore R. Evans and moved to New York City. This was during the Roaring Twenties, when many blacks moved north for a better life and to enjoy the high life. After the Depression started, they returned to Charleston in 1931. They would go on to have two children. Around the same time, David Mack Sr., son of Columbus Mack, grandson of DJ and Hattie G. Mack, moved to 416 Sumter Street, a few houses from his uncle Benjamin. It was also located near 4 Court Street, where his Aunt Beulah and Mack Holmes and family lived. Looks like the family created a neighborhood of family members similar to how it was in St. Stephen. United States City Directories for Benjamin Mack. On the 9th of December 1933, Benjamin's father DJ passed away. He was buried in Mack Zion Cemetery in St. Stephen's. Only 3 years later, on March 27, 1936, Benjamin's wife Mary passed away. She was buried 2 days later, also in the family's Mack Zion Cemetery. About 2 years later, Benjamin married Carrie Dawson. Benjamin died on April 25, 1941, at the age of 59 in Mounts Corner, South Carolina. According to his obituary, his services were held at Grace Reformed Episcopal Church, and he was buried in St. Stephen, probably in Mack Zion Cemetery. This slideshow was written and researched by Arthur L. Holmes II, February 28, 2025.